this video, I am in the Netherlands to put this Fiat 130 saloon through its paces, a car I have long revered. Everyone goes mad about the Fiat 130 Coupe, but I actually prefer the Fiat designed saloon. So we're going to have a good look around this example and then take it for a drive. So looking particularly moody and gangster-esque, the Fiat 130 saloon was a replacement for the earlier 2300, which was just really an enlarged version of the smaller four-cylinder cars. This was something a bit special, its own unique platform, its own unique engines, and just this delicious styling which was done by Fiat itself. Pininfarina doing the much lauded coupe, and I just love it. It's so much of its time. We've got the clap hand wipers going on, gorgeous grille details, little side indicators here, and suitably gangster-esque around the rear. Also, we've got the blinds up because obviously you need to protect those mafia bosses and no one needs to spot who they are. The rear lights, there's something a bit Mark 1 Capri about them, I think. Perhaps not quite so dazzling as the front end, but gorgeous little details like these little ventilation grills along the back, the electric aerial here. And if we move inside, this one has the optional leather interior in a sort of contrasting sort of tan colour, and it's an interesting mix of luxurious and also fairly plain. This is an early example. They later switched to I'm just going to turn the ignition off, save a few things. They later switched to an interior more like the coupe, so we've got a strip speedometer, sadly non-functioning in this example, tiny little rev counter, then we've got the engine temperature, oil pressure and fuel capacity, and the owner Art has managed to find an original radio. This tiny little device here is an original radio for the Fiat 130. Remarkable. We've got a town and country horn button, which is the button I didn't understand in the recent S-Class Mercedes coupe I drove. So you can have loud or quiet. We might find somewhere a little less disturbing to do that. We've got a little rotating vent here which you can twist to close off or to open. Heater, fan, temperature, panel light adjustment, cigarette lighter, and then down here we've got more heater controls, and this has optional air conditioning. This is a throttle control, so you've kind of got a cruise control. Fiat also fitted something similar to Fiat 127s as well, I think. We've got a choke adjustment over on this side. We've got the Borg Warner 3-speed automatic transmission. Automatic was standard fit on these, and down here this one actually runs on LPG, or you can run it on petrol if your pockets are deep enough. Then we've got the parking brake, looking very swish down here. This one has electric windows, although not on the passenger side, where it has an electric window switch and a manual winder. The manual winder is the way to go, and you'll notice this little blue control there. That's for an additional fresh air ventilation to the feet. Naturally, in the rear there is plenty of space. I've got a generous amount of headroom. I've got pull down grab handles that ping back up again. I've got electric window switches and manual controllers again, and of course I've got the sunscreens, so the back of one's neck does not get burnt, and it also allows a little more privacy. Lovely little lamp back here in the back, a little reading light as well. But yeah, loads of space, loads of legroom, as you'd expect. This is, you know, designed for chauffeuring folk about, I think, as well as being enjoyed by the driver. And very enjoyable it's said to be as well. The front end is sort of modified McPherson struts, but with torsion bars, because why not? And it's similar at the rear, where the more commonly called Chapman struts, because it's the same coil over spring, coil over damper design in a strut, but obviously there's no steering components. So Colin Chapman of Lotus fame use those extensively, and they are used here also. And it's a really strange thing. They put so much effort into these cars. The engine, developed by Aurelio Lampredi, who's absolutely famous for doing loads of Ferrari engines as well, a very famous engine designer. And this engine was only used in these, which they made 15,000 of, and the coupes in larger 3.2 litre form, which they made about 4,000 of. They did later fit that larger engine to the 130 as well. But production of these ran from 1969 until 1976. The coupes ran from 71 through to 77, and not really replaced by anything else. I guess by that time Fiat had other brands with which it could build big vehicles. This is a very sort of working sort of a boot. It's full of all sorts of things, but you could definitely get a couple of corpses in there, I think. It was very important for a large Italian car. So this is the engine. It's a 2.8 litre V6 with a carburettor. It was carburetted all the way through production, and like I say, not used in anything else. These 2.8 litres were used in the earliest saloons, initially 140 brake horsepower. This one is the slightly later 160. Lovely bit of design, and an engine you can actually see. Over on this side we can see the gubbins associated with the LPG conversion, which rather takes the edge off the terrifying first. Right, so into drive we go. Reassuring clunk. Got steering box, ZF power assisted, and here we go. Oh yes. And eventually she goes into third gear, and that makes some very, very pleasant noises. Now when you look at the road reports back in the day, the road tests with Autocar and Motor Magazine, they reckon this was one of the best handling saloons of the time. We may not get a chance to really put it through its paces today, but it certainly does feel very well planted. There were some issues around performance. It was felt to be a little lacking initially, which is why they factored in a bit more power. But certainly here in the Netherlands, I think there's plenty of power. Yeah, it's a nicely vocal engine. The road testers did complain about engine noise, but it's a nice engine noise, so what's the problem? Yeah, the ride's really comfortable, very pleasant drive indeed. Like I say, these are a car I've always greatly appreciated. I just think they're just a bit more stylish than the coupes. Coupes very much of their time. I imagine it must have been a bit of a shock to the world having such enormous headlamps in 1971, but you just can't beat a classy quad lamp snout. Even over the dreaded Drempels here in the Netherlands, the ride is beautifully composed. Right, one more Drempel and freedom is with us once more. Yeah, that's a very pleasant soundtrack. And quite a few people enjoyed a drive of this car yesterday at Elk Merkwaardig's AM Valhalla meet. Huge success. Although, having said that, I think more people were driving the Reliant Robin. Just that sort of an event. It feels like there's a fair amount of body roll, but of course I'm a Citroen owner, so I'm not scared of body roll. And the reward is the suppleness of the ride. I mean, this was an era when Fiat was absolutely dominating in terms of that ride and handling combo, as the Fiat X19 is very much living proof. Oh, this is just lovely. And just check there's no one behind us. Give the brakes a shove. Down goes the nose. Off comes the speed. I think I'll just let the car do the talking. I mean, really, with only 15,000 built, it's hard to think of this car as anything other than a disaster, really, in commercial terms. But it's just further proof that yesterday's disaster can be an awful lot of fun today. Really does float over those humps very nicely. Oh no, it has mysteriously rained upon the car. Oh, look at that. Oh, Apparently not self-parking today. But yeah, good wiping performance. We get this slight triangle in the middle, mostly hidden by the mirror, so it's all good. And no, I definitely did not use a squeezy bottle of water. Oh yeah, that is a noise you never really get tired of. Now they did sell these in the UK, but I can't believe they ever sold very many of them. Yeah, what I love is this feels so very Italian, in just the way a Mercedes-Benz of this era feels so very, very German, and Citroen or Peugeot so very, very French. Kind of feel like the theme tune to the Italian Job should be playing. So that was the beautiful Fiat 130 Berliner. Absolutely delightful to drive, really comfortable ride. And I still don't fully understand why you would pay twice as much money for a coupe. One of these apparently in the region of 10 to 12,000 euros, and that seems an absolute steal, especially given these were monstrously expensive when they were new, which is probably one of the reasons they didn't sell very many in the first place. Against some very stiff competition, of course, but yeah, that is a fantastic drive. The engine just sounds, oh, bellissima. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget you can head to the Hubnut store if you wish to buy some lovely merch to support what we do. And I shall see you in a future video. Farewell. Literally dying of hydrocarbons.